Well, the government shut down. Here we are. Once again, the government is shut down. Good morning, I'm Jake Sherman, and welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, today could be a bumpy day in the House. Number two, the week ahead for House Democrats. And number three, the Republicans' huge cash edge going into 2026. Let's get into it. Well, the government shut down. Here we are. Once again, the government is shut down. And the Senate on Friday passed the 5-bill funding package and a separate 2-week DHS stopgap funding bill. And Minority Leader Chuck Schumer cut a deal with the White House to pass the DHS stopgap and the 5-bill spending package so Congress can work on an ICE deal, an ICE reform package, through February 13th. That's just in, 11 days from now. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries wasn't a party to that deal. What do I mean by that? I mean that and this has been a sensitive topic in Republican leadership circles, Democratic leadership circles, and the White House over the last couple days. Jeffries does not consider himself bound by that agreement. Meaning, again, let's put another caveat on it. Not caveat, another explanation. He is not pushing that through the House. That much is clear. And Mike Johnson believes at this point, and the House Republican leadership seems to believe, that they might have to push this through on their own. To that end, the House Rules Committee is meeting today at 4 o'clock to prepare that bill for the floor. And that means that they will have to get a rule through the Rules Committee, a tough task on a good day. They have to get a rule across the floor. Rules are typically party line votes. And then they have to, what we call in Congress, concur in the Senate amendment, meaning they have to get 218 members to agree with what the Senate has done. If Democrats are needed for the rule, they're going to have to cut some sort of deal with Johnson. There's still a chance, by the way, that Johnson could put this on the floor under suspension, which is a fast-track procedure that requires 290 votes. That would avoid getting a rule and avoid going to the Rules Committee. They're not doing that at this point. The Democratic vote count is very fluid. There may be significant Democratic support for the funding measure if Republicans can pass the rule and get the package to the floor. So they need 218 once, at least, House Republicans, that is. During a Sunday evening caucus call, Steny Hoyer and Jim Clyburn, the former number 2 and 3 in Dem leadership, said Democrats should vote for the bill. So although Democrats don't like to hear this, there are cracks in their caucus. Were there cracks in the Democratic caucus in the Senate? Yes, there were. They split down the middle on voting for this package, and this is going to be a major test for Trump. He's going to have to strong-arm House Republicans to vote for the rule and the package. Democrats need to believe that Trump is serious about reining in ICE. There's very little trust in the Democratic caucus here. And the Republican leadership, by the way, doesn't have many goodies to offer their conference to vote for the bill. They could probably offer a vote on the SAVE Act, which they've already passed, etc. Here's what I think about this deal. Not the substance, but how it came to be. It is clear that Schumer led the negotiations with the White House to agree to this framework. Team Jeffries does not feel like they are bound by this because the White House didn't negotiate this with him, in addition to Schumer. If they wanted a deal with Jeffries, they probably could have gotten one. They don't have a deal with Jeffries. That's the simplest way to think of it. And to be honest with you, I am skeptical about the utility the utility is the right word for this deal either way. I don't think there's going to be a DHS ICE reform bill in the next 11 days. I just don't. First of all, the basic thing is Schumer and Jeffries have things that they want, including no masks on ICE agents, name tags on ICE agents, coordination with local police departments, body cams, etc. Yesterday on Fox News Sunday, Mike Johnson said he doesn't want to forbid ICE agents from wearing masks or forcing them to wear IDs. He said those two things are conditions that would create further danger. So getting past today is going to be difficult. Then again, getting a deal in the next 11 days before the DHS CR runs out again is going to be difficult. And remember, we're already in February. So it's possible that Congress is going to spend at least the first 2 months on DHS funding. And It could be even longer, and we'll talk about this more as it gets later in February, but we could see another CR on DHS come February 13th. And remember, Mike Johnson wanted to spend the entire first quarter talking about healthcare. So that's where we are. Number 2 story of the morning. What's up with House Democrats? Well, first of all, Christian Menifee, the new House Democrat-elect from Houston, is going to be sworn in today, provided that Texas gets Mike Johnson these documents certifying his election. That will cut Mike Johnson's majority to 1, his vote cushion to 1. That is an incredibly tight vote cushion. Also this week, the House is set to vote as soon as Wednesday, provided the government reopens and, the floor is okay, on whether to hold Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress for defying a congressional subpoena as part of the Jeffrey Epstein probe. The House Oversight Committee advanced contempt resolutions against Clinton last month in a pair of bipartisan votes. The Clintons have been warned, according to Democratic insiders, to cut a deal with Republicans. These criminal contempt resolutions will pass if they come to a floor vote. The only question is by how much. House Democratic leadership will not whip against the contempt resolutions. That is going to be a very interesting thing to watch. In addition, Greg Steube is pledging to bring his privilege expulsion resolution aimed at Sheila Sherfilis McCormick to the floor this week. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said last week the expulsion effort will fail. It needs a 2/3 majority to pass. Democrats could offer their own expulsion resolution against embattled Republican Rep. Corey Mills, who's under ethics investigation. Back and forth with the expulsion resolutions, and that's where the House is these days. Number 3 story of the morning, Republicans have a lot of cash, a lot of campaign cash across the board. Listen to these stats from our own Allie Mutnick. Senate Leadership Fund, the Senate Republican Super PAC, began this year with $100 million in the bank. SMP has $36 million and took out a $12.4 million loan. MAGA Inc. has $304 million, absolutely stunning. CLF has $54.5 million bank compared to $46 million for HMP, the Democratic Super PAC. The financial gap between the DNC and RNC is growing even more alarming. The DNC ended the year with $14 million in the bank at $17.5 million in debt. The RNC has $95 million in the bank. The NRCC outraised the D-Trip by $2 million and has a slight cash on hand advantage. The NRCC usually gets drubbed by the DCCC, so this is pretty notable. And with that, leave us a rating and review. You could subscribe to Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe.